All right, back with some more knowledge. Let's get started. So, for anybody who may not have known, your oil filter is a directional flow. That little orange thing down inside there is a rubber flap. So if you take your oil filter, these are just two random ones I had sitting around, you'll see rubber flap right there blocks flow from going out. Your flow comes in there, out through the big hole. Yeah. All right. So, it made a whole lot of sense in these wick filters. You know that. So it has to go in between that small area there. It comes in through these holes, bypasses that, squeezes down through there, fills up your filter bucket, and then goes through your filter itself, back out through here, through that center hole. Do not make the mistake of, well, wouldn't make any sense until I show you. So from that, if you hook up one of these external oil filter relocator kits, could have been a little more prepared. So on here, same thing. Oil goes, if you got one of these bolted to your engine, the out oil comes through here, out your output, goes through your out there, and then goes to your in. If you have a oil cooler, then you can hook that up there. Probably don't make a big deal on which way you hook those up there. But then, same thing. You have your in to here, to your filter, and then back out there, which would be this line back there, your out, which would in turn go to your in. Do not hook up your in to in, out to out. I'm sure a lot of you already know that. Otherwise, you could have engine failure. At the very least, no oil pressure. I've been trying to trace down why I haven't had oil pressure. So, get you set up here. Where this thing's pointing at. There we go. So on your oil pressure sending units, I'll show you. Go to your ohm setting on your meter. Stick it somewhere where you can see it. And don't matter whether you put your red on the side or your black on top. Don't matter. As you can see, this is supposed to be, I think it was 270 ohms or 470. And as you can see on the meter there, it's reading kilo ohms. Completely normal. Unless this is hooked up in your vehicle, it's not going to read that proper value. Once the oil pressure gets to it, it's going to drop. And then if you hook up a second one of these in series, just with your key switch on, it's going to show you that you do have oil pressure without the engine even running. Thought that was neat. And just to show, again, 262 kilo ohms. I'm curious. It should still read same thing on your engine block. Okay. So if all you got is room getting one hand in there, you can stick one hand in there on that and stick the other one on ground somewhere. If you're ever fighting with trying to get oil pressure and you think you might have had it before, or you know you might have had it before, take your sender back off, throw a manual gauge on there. Don't even bother with it. The faster you find out why you may or may not have oil pressure, the better. Otherwise, you're going to have an engine tore apart. Luckily on this one, can't find a light here. I won't see everything there. You can see that bearings. Got some scarring on it. Cam bearings, main bearings, rod bearings, it's all the same. Same issue. But other than that, you can see the rest of the engine's pretty clean except for that spot back there. A little bit of runtime on it. Not a whole lot. That's what happens. You'll have no oil pressure. Other than that, so that's what I've been up to. I've got my oil pressure issue now figured out. Got my tack going, working on that. Got the transmission back out. Going to change that output seal. It was not sealing, even though the transmission's pretty well empty. I did get a new rack and pinion, although they're not cheap. The other one started leaking. I've got the old one packaged up, ready to be dropped off. That way it can be sent back and I can get my core back. But if you was wanting to see the engine bay, and how I've done things, let's see, there, zoomed out view a little bit. So this top bar, radiator support, it did not remove before, so I took and cut it, welded in some nuts in the back of those, made it to where I can unbolt it. Makes getting the engine in and out a lot easier. Ain't got to work with all this in my way, kind of like on the Dodge half-ton, 3/4 ton trucks, whatnot, or at least the late 90s models. You could remove those. Same thing on your Dakotas and Durangos. You can remove that. It makes it a lot nicer because then you ain't got to reach over everything. Got my fuel stuff done up there. I will be making some changes here. I'm going to take and relocate the filter below the truck. Get one last thing up here, cluttering up the engine bay. As you can see, my wiring and stuff all looks fairly decent. I'm okay with that. I do got the hole in the firewall there. My O2 sensor wideband, that's where it's going to be coming through at to get down to where the headers go. That way it can be hooked up to that. As far as the brakes, I got my adjustable valve for the rear brakes to front brakes, that way I can change the pressures to those. Also got the line lock hooked up. I still gotta go through and re-bleed things because the foot pedal is still kind of spongy. Go back here, get some light on there. I've got all the parts to the engine laid out, more stuff there. drive shaft I did get made up. Let's see. Action Machine done that for me. Called them up, gave my measurements, and maybe a week and a half later, it came in the mail. So I was happy about that. Not a huge turnover time. They said they wasn't real busy, extremely busy, so they was able to get to it fairly fast. A little faster than what I really expected. So once I get the engine back in, I should be able to get the dash put back together rest of the way. I did get my wheels. And speaking of which, see, now I put everything back. Well, I'll show you for instance on this one. So this center cap, it does not protrude from the wheel. You can see it's got a little crack in it, not a big deal. You can also see where it just says American Racing on it. And these other caps here, grab one. It's gonna be all over the place. New ones say American Racing Equipment. It'll just be easier if I show you. Let's see if we can't get this camera set up there. Alright. So just loosely on there, you can see it fits, but you couldn't see the side of the wheel before on this one like you could the other one. It's got a lip on it. So right there. All the way around. Even if I had it bolted on there, got a lip on it. You can hear my finger clicking off of it. No matter where I put it at, it's got a lip. So you can't even get your socket in there, get the daggone lug nut on and off. Tighten them down, loosen them up, whatever it may be, unless you take this off. So be aware if you do get these thrust wheels, and they show a picture of those center caps. Again, American Racing Equipment. I think this is some type of knockoff. Not totally sure, but I'm going to have to get on eBay or Summit somewhere and order some different ones. Definitely on crap like that, I'm not going to want their logo on it because I'm not wanting to advertise their junk unless it actually works. Kind of like this back one. No problem leaving it on there because it does not protrude. You can see where it's been machined out to get a socket on there all the way. Not best lighting right here, but you get what I'm saying. So if I find the same ones that I've got on back, would be great. But the only thing I'm seeing right now, I haven't done a real in-depth look, are just ones that are a little bit shorter than this, because this in here is a different shape and it sticks out further from the top to bottom, front to back, whatever, than what the back one does. But the only ones I'm seeing are a little bit shorter, and they don't have the logo on them. Any reviews that I'm seeing on them are good, saying that they fit. Nobody saying anything about them protruding from the wheel, stopping you from getting your lug nuts on and off. And yes, I could just cut those old ones out, do my own machining on them. To make it to where I could get a socket on and off of them, but they're only like $20-some. But if you wanted to see what the wheels look like on there, nice skinnies. This thing should hopefully go down the road too, well, or down the track at least. So for next time, Y'all have a good one. Thank you for watching. They're gonna figure out